almost as far away as you can get from rifle. You know, there are 24 hours in a day. If you go 12 hours difference in time zone than us, you're about as far away as you can get. And Nepal is 12 hours difference in time zone than we are. Nepal is let me begin to share with you, first of all, the trip itself. We took 2 United States flights, of course, one to get all the way from Grand Junction to Denver. A plane, something like that. I'll show you the other plane. Then we went from LA on a plane just like this, China Southern. We went from it all the way to Bengal, China. I'm sorry, Gatsu, China. And then from there we went into Nepal. So we took 2 international flights as well. This is the one from Los Angeles to Guangzhou, China. Add those numbers up, and you get about 8,500 miles on that one flight. What do you do for that much time? 16 hours on that one leg of the flight. And that's what you look like after 24 hours of no sleep. And my video monitor broke. I watched one movie. That was 2 hours. I had 14 hours to go. What are you going to do? I think God wanted my video monitor to break because I had read 2 great books on the flight as well. Nepal is a country between China and India. Nepal is famous for mountain trekking. Have you ever heard about Nepal? Have you ever heard of the Himalaya mountains? Maybe you've heard of a mountain called Mount Everest. Okay? All that's to tourism in Nepal is mainly connected to the mountains. If you look up right there at the China and Nepal border, that region, you can see Mount Everest located there on the map. When the earthquake happened, of course, it affected Mount Everest as well. And of course, you saw that on the news. Halfway around the world is Nepal. Driving in Kathmandu. I'm going to do my best to give you some idea of what it's like to drive in Kathmandu. Kathmandu is the capital of Nepal. It's where we flew into, and it's where we spent most of our time. Now, Howard said if I go just like that, I can get to this video. So here we go.
Well, I took a picture of it. Now it's a video.
Very good. Now you're getting trying to get out of everybody's way.
I would send this to Kelly when we get back to the room, but
No, wait till you get home.
wait till I get home, yeah.
Should be worrying for the rest of the trip.
Did you hear that, Kelly? Per Albert's suggestion, I'm going to wait and show you this after I get home. And I promise that Haiti, never mind.
Okay, now we're done with the clear roads.
On this video, nothing compared to what it's like when you're in the vehicle for real. There's our traffic light. Which we're going to ignore.
It doesn't work as well here.
Actually, that's a very clear road, and you have to experience it.
On the left.
Something else. It gets worse, I
pretty
think,
nice
here
section
in
of
Meadow. That center line is just a suggestion. Oh, here it's going to get. This is more like most of it. is the most important piece of equipment on the car. The taxi driver told us he was responsible for anything in front of him. In other words, if you can get your nose in someplace, just go ahead and go. Whoever's behind you is responsible for whether you get hit or not. And that's the way they drive. The horn is a signal. Okay, I'm coming over. Beep. And you go. You see all different kinds of vehicles. The taxi that we're in is the smallest car that you see there. There's 3 big guys across the back of it. 2 of us are sitting shoulder to shoulder and one's leaning forward. That's how big the car is.
I haven't gotten home yet.
If you can imagine what that's like to actually be there, it is.
I don't know.
It is so much closer. The video just does not capture it like I'd like for you to see. So I wanted to give you a little bit of the flavor. Probably the most dangerous thing we did while we were there was not the earthquakes. It was traveling on the streets of Kathmandu. All different kinds of vehicles. You don't see very many nice new cars like that, but that's a big car in Kathmandu, and there's a reason why that's a big car. You know, you don't want too big a car in that traffic there. Now look at some of these vehicles on the bottom. The one on the far right that's going away from us, that's a rotor tiller. That's a rotor tiller with a truck bed on the back of it. I'll show you another picture of it. You've heard of the bicycle-driven taxis. I forget the name of it, but that's one of those there. Of course, bicycles are on the street just like the cars are, on the same street with the cars. And there are 40 million motorcycles in Kathmandu. Everybody has a motorcycle if they have a vehicle at all. And the motorcycles, I wish I'd taken a picture of it. You've heard of the soccer moms. What kind of vehicles do soccer moms have here? Minivans and SUVs, right? You know what kind of vehicles soccer moms have there? Vespas and motorcycles. I mean, you'll see a soccer mom with kids, 4 of them, stacked on behind her, and she's traveling, taking them around to their activities. 4 kids on the back of a motorcycle or a Vespa or something like that. Here is the rotor tiller vehicle I was telling you about. It's kind of handy, really, if you have a small farm there. You can use the rotor tiller part, and they have rotor tiller for the rear tine rotor tillers, and you can use it for your truck as well. Take your food to market. That gas 3-wheeler there, that I didn't realize that was a bus. You can put like maybe 6 to 10 people in that thing, or more than 6. I mean, 6 would probably be a light load. There's the taxi that we were in, a really big car. This is how the trucks look there. They're all decorated like that. They all look like that. Tata is a brand of truck, I believe, that comes from India. You see folks getting down from the top of that luggage. They weren't up there to get their luggage. They're getting off the ride that they had. You saw folks like that on the buses all the time. I mean, they just are all over the buses. And that's not just in the city. I mean, that's traveling on the 4th most dangerous highway in the world, is the road that we were on when we had that earthquake. The 4th most dangerous highway in the world. That's how people travel on that highway as well, especially after the earthquakes. 4.5 million people live in Kathmandu, the capital city. 500,000 of them left within a few days of the earthquakes. 500,000. The government provided free bus tickets, and they were lined up for block after block after block, about 5 or 6 deep, block after block after block, waiting to get on a bus to get out of town, to get away from the destruction in Kathmandu, perhaps to go back to some of their villages that had even more destruction, and see if they had family left. I mean, it was like a mass exodus as they were leaving Fruta as well. These are our Pennsylvania team. Bobby and Mike, they were characters. First time I met them, Mike made me angry. He was telling us how we had to do everything. It was completely different than what our leader was telling us. And I said, hold on, wait a minute. I'm going to follow our leader. And then we got to be great friends after that. Mike actually is a really good guy. He's just one of those guys that has a whole lot to say, even if you don't. He's a neat guy, though. And Mike, and I'm telling you, Mike works on staff at a church, and Robert or Bobby, he's just an ordinary lay person, and believe me, God can really use ordinary people there. Bobby was great. Everybody he met was his best friend by the end of the week. They felt like they were best friends as well. I mean, he just had a wonderful way of relating to people. Even though he didn't know the language, it didn't matter at all. He was just a really super friendly guy. This is a temple that we went to see there. This is a picture of it before the earthquake. Some things about that temple. You see the smoke rising there. That smoke is from bodies that are being burned. They don't bury people in the Hindu religion. They burn the bodies. Here on this side of the temple is where the folks who are upper class people. There's a class system in Nepal, as it is in India, caste system they call it. And this is on this side is where the politicians, the wealthy people, people with standing in the community, burn their dead and then sweep the ashes off into the river. And on the other side is where the more common people are, and there's a funeral going on right there. Here you can see some more of it. You see the guy down in white down there? He's a family member of the deceased person, and his job is to continue to tend the fire until there is only ashes left, and then to sweep the ashes off into the river. This same river is where they get some of their drinking water from. It's not exactly a very clean river. There you can see one of them there tending a fire, and someone who is just... This is after the earthquake. They had so many people that died, that just both sides of the river, all over the place. In the Hindu religion, they have to do the funeral within 24 hours of the death. And so while we were there just at the temple before the earthquake, we saw several people lined up to be cremated in that sense. And after the earthquake, of course, there were thousands of people that were passed away. Here I am with some of my buddies. I was just going to take a picture of them, and one of the other guys said, Albert, sit down with him. So I sat down with him, and before I knew it, I had a red dot between my eyes, and they were doing this stuff over me, and so you might pray for me.